Israel is not involved in a series of blasts that occurred in Iran earlier today, two Israeli officials tell Reuters. According to Iranian state media, an explosion occurred at a residential building in the Gulf Coast city Bandar Abbas, though it added that the cause of the blast was not yet known. State television says the explosion occurred at an 8-story building, destroying 2 floors, several vehicles, and shops in the area of Moallem Boulevard in the city. Additionally, in Iran's southwestern Khuzestan province, 4 people were killed in an apparent gas explosion that also took place today in the Kianshahr neighborhood of Ahvaz city. State media says both blasts are being investigated but gives no further information. Iranian authorities could not immediately be contacted for comment.
A powerful blast ripped through an 8-story building in Bandar Abbas, the strategic Iranian port city on the Persian Gulf coast on Saturday. State television reported the explosion destroyed 2 floors, blew out the building's facade, shattered nearby shops, and crushed several parked vehicles along Moallem Boulevard. Images broadcast on Iranian state media showed walls torn open, interiors exposed to the street, and debris scattered across the roadway. Rescue crews and firefighters rushed to the scene as emergency responders transferred the injured to nearby hospitals. Officials have not informed of any fatalities, though reports of at least 4 deaths surfaced on social media. But the cause of the explosion remains officially unknown. Iran's crisis management chief in Hormozgan province, Mehrdad Hassanzadeh, said the incident is under investigation. Other Iranian outlets echoed the same line: no details, no conclusions, only questions. And then came the rumors. Social media quickly lit up with claims that the explosion may have targeted a Revolutionary Guard naval commander, an allegation swiftly and forcefully denied by the semi-official Tasnim news agency, which called the reports completely false. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the backbone of Iran's security apparatus, reports directly to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, making any such claim instantly explosive. Timing, however, is everything. The blast comes amid soaring regional tension as the United States deployed an aircraft carrier strike group to the Gulf following increasingly aggressive rhetoric from President Donald Trump. Warships, fighter jets, and missile systems now crowd waters just miles from Iranian shores. And Tehran is responding. Iranian Army Chief Amir Hatami has issued a stark warning to both the United States and Israel, declaring Iran's forces are now at full defensive and military readiness. Hatami warned, and I quote, "If the enemy makes a mistake, without a doubt it will endanger its own security, the security of the region, and the security of the Zionist regime." His message is unmistakable. Any strike will be met with consequences far beyond Iran's borders. Hatami also pushed back against threats aimed at Iran's nuclear infrastructure, insisting force would fail. Iran's nuclear science and technology cannot be eliminated, he said, even if the scientists and sons of this nation are martyred. One explosion, no confirmed cause, no claimed responsibility, but in a region saturated with weapons, history, and unresolved grudges, silence itself can be a warning. As smoke clears in Bandar Abbas, the larger question hangs heavy in the air. Was this an accident or the first tremor of a war?
The warning is clear, and it's coming from the sea. As Iran announces a live-fire naval exercise in the Strait of Hormuz, the world's most critical energy choke point, the United States Central Command is urging restraint. CENTCOM is calling on Iran's Revolutionary Guard to avoid dangerous and escalatory behavior, warning that the narrow waterway, used by nearly 100 merchant vessels every single day, cannot afford miscalculation. CENTCOM says it will not tolerate unsafe actions, including high-speed approaches toward U.S. warships, low-altitude armed flyovers, or weapons pointed at American forces. The message is blunt: professional conduct or consequences. This warning comes as President Donald Trump confirms the United States is moving a larger naval force toward Iran, larger, he says, than recent deployments off Venezuela.
We have a large armada, flotilla, you can call it whatever you want, heading toward Iran right now, even larger than what we had in Venezuela. It's still in front of Venezuela. The Venezuelan situation, the leadership is doing a very good job. We're very happy, and we're getting along very, very well. And we're inviting countries of the world very shortly. They're going to be starting to take the oil. We're going to be heading that with the country, and it's worked out really well. We're now sending actually a larger number of ships to Iran, and hopefully we'll make a deal. If we do make a deal, that's good. If we don't make a deal, we'll see what happens.
Are you giving Iran any kind of deadline to make a deal before potentially taking
Only
military
they
action?
know for sure.
Have you communicated that to them
Yeah,
directly?
I have.
Do you have a timeline for when you're going to pull back potentially the federal presence there?
No, we'll see how it all works out. You know, they have to float someplace. They might as well float near Iran, but it's a rough situation going on. So I stopped 837 people, as you know, last week from being hung. They were going to hang 830. It was all set, and I mean, I'm looking at the people behind me. They're saying, "What kind of racing's a lot nicer than that?" Right? They were going to hang 837 people, and I told them, if you do it, you're going to pay a price like nobody's ever paid before. And they pulled back. I appreciated that. But a lot of people are being killed, so we'll see what happens. I can say this: they do want to make a deal.
Is your plan to replicate there what you just did in Venezuela?
I don't want to say that. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about anything having to do with what I'm doing militarily. But we have a tremendously powerful fleet there. We have the most powerful ships in the world. We have the most powerful military by far in the world. We showed that on numerous occasions. I mean, I rebuilt the military in my term. If I didn't do, I wouldn't, I think, be able to say that. But I rebuilt the military, the entire United States military in my first term. And now we're building it bigger, better, stronger than ever before. I'm adding to it. We're adding something called a battleship. You would find this interesting. You know, the old-fashioned, beautiful battleships? And we're adding up to 25 of them. Each battleship is 100 times more powerful than the battleships of the 1940s, those big, powerful ones with the guns, because of what the ships carry. But we're going to build 10, and then we'll see how we like them, and we're going to go and do another 15 after that. Could be up to 25 battleships, 100 times more powerful. Can you imagine that? And it's peace or strength. We don't want to use them, but if we have to use them, we will.
Behind the scenes, however, the tone may be shifting. According to a Western source familiar with U.S.-Israeli coordination, diplomacy may no longer be the central question. The source tells Iran International that decision-making circles have moved past whether a military strike will happen and are now focused only on when. The scenario being discussed, the source claims, would be unprecedented, aimed not at negotiation, but at delivering a decisive blow to Iran's governing structure. A campaign, he says, unlike anything Iran has faced before. Joint U.S.-Israeli assessments reportedly view the current moment as a rare operational window, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, with a higher tolerance for risk than in previous confrontations. Israel, the source says, is on full alert. One scenario under discussion, waiting for a spark, a single Iranian missile that could justify a much broader and more destructive response. If Israel becomes directly involved, the source warns, past conflicts would look small by comparison. Still, publicly, Washington maintains its position. CENTCOM says U.S. forces will continue to operate with professionalism, protect freedom of navigation, and safeguard personnel, ships, and aircraft across the Middle East. But as warships move closer, as live-fire drills begin, and as deadlines remain undisclosed, the question is no longer just about diplomacy. It's about how close this standoff is drifting to the edge.